Moment, many grief-stricken families have been waiting for a personal apology from the chief executive of Boeing to the victims of the 737 MAX crashes. He was speaking to CBS when Dennis Mohlberg called the crisis a defining moment for his company and says he still believes in the safety of Boeing aircraft.
We clearly fell short, and the implementation of this angle of attack disagree alert was a mistake, right? We did not implement it properly. We're confident in the fundamental safety of the airplane.
You'd put your family on a 737 MAX? Without
any hesitation, absolutely.
Sebastian is with me. This angle of attack disagree is a minor technical point that does not go to the core of whether the MCAS should ever have been designed in the way it was, executed in the way it was, and ultimately advised in the way it was.
It's scratching the surface, Richard. This is, you know, one sensor and one communication with the MCAS system. The question of whether the MCAS system, why it exists in the first place, really gets to the core of this. The way they type certified the plane, that they you know, all of that certification issue is really, it's the software and the certification. They haven't come out and admitted yet that there was any, you know, underlying problem with all of that. So this apology...
Far from it. In his speech yesterday, Muhlenberg specifically says there was integrity in the system.
Absolutely, and in the certification system. He said that's the reason why air travel is the safest way to travel in the world. He said he's fully confident in that, but he has convened an internal board, Richard, to review the certification process, and he's working with the FAA, who's doing the same.
So what are you hearing from lawyers?
Well, you know, I wanted to know, basically, because the apology is not the same as an admission of guilt, and this didn't seem to go all that far. So I wanted to know what they thought about whether or not he's trying to protect himself from further liability. And the consensus is yes. This seemed to the people I've spoken to today, to the lawyers, to be a very schooled response, that he's really, you know, leaving it some wiggle room to perhaps continue to blame the pilots or other parties. And they are facing lawsuits on this, and that could get worse the longer the planes stay on the ground.
What's the latest thinking on that?
So the IATA says it could be 10 to 12 weeks, they said this week. That takes us to August. The main US carriers, United, Southwest and American, all have cancelled their MAX flights through August. So certainly August seems to be the earliest at which the plane will get off the ground. But don't forget, Boeing hasn't actually submitted its fix to the FAA yet. They're still working through some dialogue with them, so some issues on that. The FAA says that's normal, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And plus, there's the trust issue, Richard. I want to pull up a tweet just in the last hour and a half from Senator Richard Blumenthal. He says plane passengers deserve more than apologies and promises from Boeing CEO about the updated 737 MAX airworthiness. Any fix must be independently scrutinised. A new, robust review of all safety systems is paramount. What he actually means by that is unclear. But for some people, the FAA's sign-off isn't going to be enough.
Look, the fix will be put in place. The planes will be put back in the air. The issue will become whether or not passengers will balk at flying on it.
Absolutely. And I think there are some who still will. United CEO was speaking just today in an interview and said there's no guarantee that everyone will get over this. And if they don't, United's going to have to put them on different planes.
We'll talk about that in the future. In my view, well, people will fly it.